Hello, this is the Great War, World War One notes, continuation of part one. We're going to look at the naval warfare aspect in the first part of part one. This is part 1A. In the first part, we looked at what was going on the land. Now we're going to look at what's going on in the water. Let's take a look at that map that we had earlier. In the map earlier, we saw that Great Britain is an island. It is completely surrounded by water, and this has advantages and disadvantages. The danger for Great Britain is that they relied on bringing all sorts of supplies in by boat. Because of this, because trade was so important, Great Britain is going to have the largest navy in the world by far. So much so that early in the war, there's going to be a battle between Great Britain's fleet of battleships, cruisers, and destroyers, and Germany's fleet as well above the water. The two are going to clash. The British are going to win, and Germany's not going to be able to challenge the British fleet above the water for the rest of the war. Because of this, Britain's going to come over and they're going to set up a blockade along the side of Germany, which means they're not going to let any supplies in. No food, no weapons, nothing that's going to help Germany with the war. This is going to make it very difficult for Germany to fight in World War One. So in response, Germany's going to look, hey, if we cut off trade to Britain, they're going to starve. They have no way of getting stuff by land. It all has to come by boat. So since Germany has lost the war above the water, they're going to go below the water. And they're going to set up a submarine blockade around Great Britain. Now these submarines look kind of like this. They're not the impressive ones that we're used to seeing with World War II or today. They're small, they're going to be cramped, barely enough room for the crew, they're not going to have many torpedoes or much firepower, and they're not going to be able to defend themselves if they're attacked. So we're going to take a look at what traditionally happened in naval warfare. It used to be that if there was a passenger boat coming along, traveling, entering a war zone, and it was stopped by an enemy ship coming along, this enemy ship would come by, stop it, and say, hey, hold on. And the dreadnought would see, hey, there are innocent people on board this ship. All right, we're going to take those innocent people from the passenger boat, put it onto our own ship, and then they would have the opportunity to then sink the passenger boat once all the innocent people are off. Passenger boat goes down, dreadnought goes on its way. This system worked fine as long as two things were going on. As long as, one, you had enough room on your ship to hold all the passengers, and two, your ship was pretty confident that it couldn't be hurt by the passenger ship. All that changes, however, when we get our U-boats. Remember, they're small, there's no room for the innocent people, and they can't defend themselves if the ship is armed. So you've got your U-boat lurking here below the waters, and then suddenly in comes your passenger ship. Here comes the passenger boat going along. You have no idea. Maybe there are innocent people on it, maybe there aren't. It could be kind of hard to tell. Is it really a passenger boat? Maybe it's a dreadnought. You got to be careful. The last thing that you want to do as this boat is going along is to come to the surface and let them know, hey, we're going to sink you. That just won't work. That's what used to be the policy. That was called restricted submarine warfare, where it's restricted in that the submarines can't just sink anybody. They have to keep in mind all these innocent people on the passenger boat. What's going to change is that the submarines are going to adopt what's called unrestricted submarine warfare. They're going to stay below the water, and anytime they see a boat, they're not going to wonder, hey, are there innocent people on it or not? maybe there are, maybe there aren't. We see a boat, it's in the war zone, we're going to sink it. So, U-boat fires, and we're going to see that the passenger boat, along with the innocent people, are going to go down to the bottom. The U-boat's thinking, hey, I can't defend myself, I need to protect myself. That passenger boat could be carrying supplies, maybe it's got something to help out the war effort. I'm justified in sinking it. The rest of the world, however, isn't going to think about the U-boat, it's not going to think about the passenger boat. All that the rest of the world thinks about are all of the innocent people who just lost their lives. So let's define our term here. Unrestricted submarine warfare. It's the policy of attacking any ship as long as it helped the war effort. This policy might include attacking civilian targets and therefore may result in the death of innocent civilians. When you do this, not only does it make any other people upset, but it also has the problem of violating what's called international law. International law says you have to help the civilians. Everybody agrees to that. However, February 15th, 1915, Germany announced that it would use unrestricted submarine warfare to prevent supplies from reaching Great Britain. Germany is going to notify the Allies that the waters around England were a war zone and that it would fire without warning on any enemy merchant ship that entered the zone. This warning, without giving the warning, that means that the merchant ships can't call out for help. They can't ask for destroyers or dreadnoughts to come over. They can't try and delay things. The U-boats are going to sink it and they're going to leave. As mentioned, this is going to break international law, which forbade sea vessels from sinking other ships without warning, specifically without warning civilian or merchant ships. President Wilson, the American president, is going to grimly caution Germany that it would be held fully accountable for any American losses at sea. Americans are sending their ships back and forth. Germany, convinced that U.S. entry on the Allied side would secure a defeat for the Central Powers, said that they would do their best, they would try to avoid firing on neutral trade or passenger ships. But they could offer no guarantee that ships would be protected if they entered the war zone. Because of this, from February to May 1915, German U-boats sunk over 90 ships. We're going to see that this is a problem that's going to haunt Germany in the future.